This is Qatar, the richest country in the world between Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and the UAE. It is so rich that its per capita income is $128,000, which is much more than America, Singapore and even neighboring Arab countries such as the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Big buildings, shopping malls, expensive cars, that's why Qatar is also called the Vegas of the Middle East. But Qatar was not always like this. A few years ago, Qatar was just a scorching desert, which had nothing but poverty, hunger and boredom. So how did this big transformation happen? The country that was the poorest in all Arab countries, how did it become the richest country in the world today? There's a very interesting story behind it, and this story is different from the story of other Arab countries. By the end of this video, you will also understand why Saudi Arabia and the UAE do not like Qatar and how Qatar will be happier and safer than its neighboring Arab countries in the future. This story begins in 1916, when the Emir of Qatar, Abdullah Al Thani, signed an agreement with the British, according to which Britain would have to defend Qatar in the form of any land or sea attack. And Qatar would be part of the British colony for the next 25 years in return, and Britain would have a share in every natural resource coming out of here. In 1940, the first oil field was discovered in Qatar. By 1960, oil exploration in Qatar and the task of extracting it from the ground was on the rise, and the conditions of Qatar had begun to change gradually. But there was not much change yet. But then in 1970, Shell Oil Company discovered the country's largest treasure, North Field, the world's largest natural gas field. But at that time, gas was not very profitable, and the reason was that gas could only be sent somewhere else through pipelines. And Qatar was so far from the countries using gas that it was almost impossible to reach the pipeline there. This is why the Shell Company also discovered this gas field and forgot it, and this discovery was buried in the official documents. In 1971, Qatar got independence from Britain and it became a free country. Despite getting independence, Qatar's situation did not change much in the next 25 years. And then came 1995, when Crown Prince Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani rebelled and overturned the throne of his own father's government and became the Emir of Qatar. There was only one focus of the new Emir, and that was gas. Hamad bin Khalifa knew that Qatar's fate can only change gas. That's why he invested in a very rare technology, gas liquefaction. Liquefaction is a technology in which gas is converted into liquid form so that it can be transported to other countries in ships like oil. In all this process, the gas has to be kept cold at -161 degrees. Qatar made all the investments in this process, and today it is the largest exporter of LNG. Japan, India, China, South Korea and Spain are among the countries that import gas from Qatar. Billions of dollars have started coming to Qatar. But this was only a small part of the equation to change the fate of Qatar. Because natural resources are with many countries also exploit them. But the real problem is to use the money coming from those resources correctly. Otherwise, the fate of Venezuela and Angola is in front of us. This is the place where Qatar took the lead over all other countries. Qatar made a company in the name of Qatar Investment Authority in 2005, whose purpose was to invest the money coming from oil and gas in the whole world. And that's why today you will see Qatar investment in every big country and every big company in the world. Whether it is the big hotels, offices and apartment buildings of London, the big offices of America or the multinationals like Volkswagen, Barclays Bank, Shell, Tiffany & Co or Rosneft, Russia's largest oil company. Qatar has heavy investments in all these countries and companies. But this is also a small part of Qatar's total investments. Apart from this, Qatar has invested billions of dollars in roads, airports, research centers and financial centers. Even the FIFA World Cup, which is probably the biggest sports event in the world, is also taking place in Qatar. Because such state-of-the-art stadiums are only in Qatar in the whole of Arabia. The purpose of all these investments is to create alternate income sources of oil and gas. Now this was Qatar's economic side. On the other hand, Qatar started the world's largest Arab media network to gain international political influence, which we know today as Al Jazeera. Actually, Qatar was under Saudi Arabia's control for many years, and new Emir Khalifa bin Hamad knew very well that if Qatar wants to make a place in the world, then it is very important to have a separate identity for it. Al Jazeera has played a very important role in spreading Qatar's voice and its narrative to the whole world. During the Arab Spring of 2010, Al Jazeera was the only channel that aired the protests, and because of this, it had to face strong criticism from Saudi Arabia and other countries. Al Jazeera's influence is so strong that in 2017, when all Arab countries boycotted Qatar, the first demand put forward to end it was to ban Al Jazeera. In Saudi Arabia and UAE, Al Jazeera has been banned since 2017. Qatar's boycott was a complete failure, and its first reason was that Saudi Arabia did not get the support of all Arab countries in this boycott. Even Kuwait and Oman did not become a part of this boycott. Second, Qatar has very good relations with Iran and Turkey, because of which, although Saudi Arabia and UAE are very angry with Qatar, but internationally all countries consider Qatar as a neutral state. And that's why no one in the world except 6 countries supported this boycott. Qatar has also got another future advantage due to gas. Many experts say that if not 2030, then it will be replaced by electricity by 2040. But there is no such prediction about gas, but on the contrary, the demand for gas is increasing continuously. In the recent Russian-Ukraine war, after the blockage of the gas pipeline from the Russian side, the demand for Qatari gas has increased tenfold because now European countries are also contacting Qatar for gas. And this deal will make Qatar richer. In 2022, Qatar's energy exports have already crossed $100 billion. So when the rest of the Arab countries will be worried about oil replacement tomorrow, Qatar will not care about this change. Now everything is not good in Qatar. And recently, many questions have been raised about the labor class condition there. But still Qatar is a very open state compared to other Arab countries, where there is freedom of the media, economic conditions are better and future planning is also done. Finally, we come to that area which is probably rich with natural resources. But due to political differences, corruption and religious extremism, poverty, hunger and insecurity are the victims at the moment. 60% of the population of Qatar are South Asians. Indians, Pakistani, Bangladeshi and Nepali are the largest group of the Qatari population. They work day and night thousands of miles away from their country and loved ones. They dream all the time that when their own countries will be so happy that they will be free from this scorching heat across the 7 seas. These people, who fight on social media all the time, live together in foreign countries, share their sorrows and help each other. But as soon as they come back to their countries, they are influenced by the old political agenda and start saying bad things to each other. I don't know when this situation will change. When will the people of this subcontinent decide that they will not be part of the politicians' dirty politics? They will get out of this brainwashing, they will consider others as humans and finally decide that now we have to take our own countries to the place where Norway and Qatar are today.